The original is any horror junkie's dream, but sitting through the remake is the real nightmare. We just watched both Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984, and the 2010, so let's get snobby about this. Welcome back, everyone. We are the Horror Snobs. I am Sam.
I'm Spencer.
I am Sean.
And, wow, this is probably the
hardest one to have sat through.
Yeah, this is the first one where it was truly a bad movie, and not bad in a, it was entertaining bad, but...
Well,
bad as in you take it out back behind the barn and shoot it in the head.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the two ones we watched was bad.
The other one is a masterpiece.
Yeah, and it's still got some really cool stuff. Nightmare on Elm Street. Probably Wes Craven's most popular film. I would say that, either that or Scream.
Yeah.
But this one came first. And it really... This is, like, one of the first really creative, like, slashers where it really turns stuff up. Mm-hmm. Most people...
Or upside down.
Yeah. Most people know the story of Nightmare on Elm Street at this point. Just to kind of recap the story, a small group of kids start having nightmares.
On Elm Street.
On Elm Street. They start having nightmares about a burned man in a red and green sweater with a homemade, like, claw glove. And he starts killing them one by one. He's killing them
in their dreams.
In their dreams. That's where it really kind of takes a twist. He's killing them in their dreams. Freddy Kreuger is the man.
If you don't know that, yeah,
you shouldn't be here. But it starts out. We're following this one girl, Tina, who they kind of do a psycho type thing a little bit with Tina, making you feel like she's more of the lead.
Oh, yeah.
And then Freddy kills her, and you find out later that Freddy Kreuger, the man who is chasing them through their dreams, was a child murderer. They say. They never flat out say he's... they imply several times he probably did some dirty things to these kids. Like, more than just kill them, but...
It's like they talk about he took you to the boiler room and did his stuff. Like, did what he did to the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, he's killed all these children. In retaliation, the parents of the town went to like, his makeshift home, which I guess was in a boiler room or something.
Well, the boiler room was where he took the kids. I think the remake had more of the, like, his home.
Oh, yeah. Well, one way or another, the parents one night cornered him in this house and burned him alive. And for revenge, he is now coming after their children in their dreams.
He did wait, like, a good, 10 years, though, it seems like.
Yeah. I'm sure, at least 10 years, because all the kids in this are supposed to be...
16, 17.
16, 17.
Yeah.
The story is pretty straightforward. Like I said, Tina we're kind of led to believe she's a hero at first. She's having these nightmares about him. Her other friend, Nancy's boyfriend, Glenn, played by Johnny Depp in his very first film role ever.
Having a very, very babyish face.
Yes, it was surprising to see how baby-faced he was, and...
His mullet.
And he had... Oh, I don't know if it was exactly a mullet, but
it was
like
an
shot
80s
up.
mullet.
Very 80s. Very 80s hair.
It was like
mullet.
A pompadour that went down along in the back.
And then Tina's boyfriend, who I can't remember his character's name.
Glenn.
No,
Glenn, I don't...
Glenn is Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But, like, her boyfriend, and... In one of her nightmares, Freddy kills her in probably a really cool shot where she's like, you just see her in the real world being dragged up this wall as her boyfriend watches as she's like ripped apart and cut open.
It's pretty cool because the set was rotating, but you don't know that.
So I just realized there's a slight Sid Vicious Nancy reference to this.
Oh.
Because Nancy died by being stabbed in her sleep, and Sid was arrested for it, and there was he claims to have not have done it, and then hung himself in the cell.
Wow.
Holy crap!
Wow.
I just realized that.
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, there you go. She's killed in her sleep. Her boyfriend, whose name I'm going to be looking up right now, he claimed there's no evidence. He can't prove that he didn't do it because he was the only witness there. But
It was in a locked room.
it was in a locked room. He was the only one. He saw it happen. Nancy, because she's been having these nightmares, believes him, and she's trying to prove his innocence. But
No one else believes her.
no one else believes her. She goes into dreams a few times, is haunted by Freddy, and she realizes Freddy's going after the boyfriend, whose name I am still looking up. This is
Right,
right,
who has the
folks. We'll get
fastest
there.
phone?
Android
Android versus iPhone.
And like Sean said, the Sid Vicious thing connection is when the boyfriend is in prison. Freddy strangles him, hangs him with the bed sheets.
Rod Lane.
Rod Lane is the boyfriend's name. Rod. So Rod is
apparently the actor was a cokehead on set. So
well, I mean, if you guys don't,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Well, I mean, he's no, not allegedly. He's admitted it. This guy admitted.
Self-admittance.
If you guys haven't seen this yet, if you have Netflix, there's a 4-hour documentary kind of going through all the Nightmare on Elm Streets from the first one all the way up to Freddy vs. Jason, called Never Sleep Again. I would recommend checking it out if you like documentaries and horror movies. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of information about all of them in there. And that's where he talks about he was on a narcotic during the filming of this. So, and you can see it at times. He looks like he's like
He has
really
the coke
really
face.
jonesing.
Yeah.
He looks
But-
like modern day Nick Cage in some scenes.
Yep. But
Johnny Depp later took inspiration from these stuff.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
but yeah, he's killed in his cell, and everyone thinks he just hung himself except for Nancy and Glenn. And Nancy's father is a sheriff, played by John Saxon.
No, I feel like Glenn always is ignoring. He always seems so blasé about everything.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, this stuff kind of happened.
I think he's really just waiting to try and get laid from Nancy, so he's just playing along.
You know, I'm not gonna refute that. That seems like a very plausible theory.
Yeah.
But
In
it's
his crop top.
if for no other reason, even if you're not a horror fan, watch this movie. Go to about the hour mark, and so you can see Johnny Depp in this ridiculous crop top.
Yep.
It is wonderful.
You will not be disappointed.
You will never sleep again.
Yep. But this stuff is happening. Nancy starts not sleeping, so her mother.
She gets a gray streak in her hair.
That's about to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Her mother takes her to a sleep clinic to have her studied, and while she's there, she has a nightmare, and she wakes up with a gray streak in her hair, a claw mark on her arm, and she's pulled Freddy's hat out of the dream. So she's now realizing she can fight Freddy in the real world if she can pull him out of the dream. At this point, she starts to...
Or she just got a nice hat.
Maybe she brought the nice hat in with her, but we know what's going on, but everyone else is like, oh...
I don't know.
She must be crazy. And at this point, her mother starts becoming a super alcoholic, and starts revealing to her the story that I told you about Freddy Kreuger, that he was a child murderer, the parents killed him.
The mom kept his burnt glove in the boiler room down in the basement.
Kept his knife glove. She's like, he can't hurt you anymore, honey. Which, at this point, look, even if she was delusional, you have to start buying into it a little bit. All the horrible stuff that's been happening.
Because in the sleep clinic, she also had the cuts on her arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty obvious. Like, even if she's lying, she's hurting herself. So if you...
Basically, the parents are just assholes.
Yeah.
Parents
are like, honey, you're just delusional. You're crazy. You're making this up. No way trying to support her. So she decides she's going to pull Freddy out of the dream and fight him. And she sets up this whole trap area, not before Freddy gets a hold of poor Glenn, who falls asleep and gets pulled into the bed, sucked into the bed, and becomes nothing but a geyser of blood.
Yep, and the cops come, they're like, we're going to need a mop.
Yeah, that was great. There's just a throwaway line is they're wheeling out as like the ambulance and the cops are there. You just hear one guy say, "They're gonna need a mop in there."
I hope it was one of the actors' like improv lines.
It's
like his big day. It's like, we're gonna need a mop.
But the guys are blood. Another infamous scene. Even if you haven't seen this movie, I feel like you probably
have
seen that.
Heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, you probably know about that scene. But eventually,
one of the great horror kills of all time.
Yeah. Or that and The Shining, the greatest two uses of a mass amount of blood.
Yeah.
Yes. I know it seems like we're kind of rushing through this, but there's really not a huge amount to talk about in this movie that isn't like
it's already been covered in a million ways.
Yeah. And we have to get to this remake. Yeah. We have to.
Yeah.
But anyway, Glenn is killed. Nancy decides to go in the dream. She's gonna show up.
Somehow she found a book of how to self-defense herself. So
she's building.
She and she kind of sets up a Home Alone type situation.
It is very Home Alone.
Yeah, it is incredibly Home Alone. She goes into her dream, finds Freddy, and pulls him into her reality where she Home Alones his ass all over the place.
She has a set up sledgehammer. She has shotgun powder in the light bulb so it can explode.
The whole time, like every time she hits Freddy and knocks him down, she'll go to the window. Her mother has like barred up the windows at this point because she doesn't believe Nancy, and she's just falling deeper and deeper.
Sleep.
She's falling deeper and deeper into just like a depressed alcoholism. That's just, it's like this is not how you help it. If your child is delusional like you think, this is not how you really go around dealing with it.
Ship them to military school.
Yes, I'm sure there are plenty of horror movies that show that that's the right way to go. Her mother's an alcoholic. And is just kind of like, at this point, put herself into a comatose state, being like, Nancy, I love you, but you're crazy. She's like, no, I'm not, Mom. I'm going to prove to you that he's real. And she pulls him out of the dream, Home Alones him, gets like a sledgehammer to the stomach, a gunpowder. Every once in a while, she'll run to the window that she breaks, and through the bars, she'll yell across the street to all the police who are investigating Glenn's death, "Someone get my father, I have him in the house." And there's one sheriff out there who's just like, "Don't worry, it's fine."
This happens like 3 or 4 times.
Before the guy finally goes, maybe I should go get the chief.
She's like breaking the windows and shit too, so...
Yeah, and the chief specifically was like, Nancy called and was like, meet me there in 20 minutes. And the chief was like, hey, maybe keep an eye out in case like...
Something weird happens?
Yeah, something weird happens. Like, sheriff's like, what do you expect? Something weird happens.
Yeah, and so the guy does tell him after like the 4th time.
And after the house is like lit on fire a bit. There's some smoke on it before the
She like brings Freddy into the basement, lights him on fire again, locks him down there. Then all the sheriffs break the door down to go investigate. While they do this, Freddy somehow manages to slip around all of them, leave a flaming trail of footprints going up the stairs to the mother's room, where Nancy and her father, the police chief John Saxton, walk in just as Freddy jumps on the mother, burns them both to a crisp, and they disappear into the bed.
But like the mom's skeleton very like slowly goes backwards into it.
It's like a very odd, slow descent into it. And so
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's normally that's the end, right? Not quite.
Nope.
Both Nancy
but
and her...
wait, there's more.
Yes. Both Nancy and her father, neither of whom seems incredibly broken up about this.
Another one of my side theories, Dad might have been looking for a divorce. Perfect way out. So.
Yeah. I mean, the entire time, the attitude between her father and her mother is they both kind of seem like they're just in this marriage at this point because they have this dark secret that has united them. Neither one really shows any emotion to the other than, don't tell Nancy the truth.
Yeah, because you have to think the dad's been hiding this murder. I mean, I'm sure, a lot of the townspeople are like, we're not really, expecting you to investigate this because we're all with you when we birthed the guy alive. But he's probably still, fielding a couple of different calls away. And...
But anyway, this happens, and then Nancy realizes, oh shit, I'm still in a dream. But if I... Going back to a conversation she had with Glenn earlier very briefly, where he was like, there was... I forget who he says he read the study from. They're like, in dreams, if you take away the power by saying, I'm not giving you any power to the something in the dream, then it can't hurt you. Nancy does that and opens the bedroom door, but she goes out her front door, and it's like, it's a brand new day, and everyone who died is alive. Her mother is alive. Her friends are alive. And yay!
Except everything's very surreal and kind of foggy.
Yeah, very, very surreal, kind of foggy.
They're continuing. There's a bunch of little girls singing 1, 2, coming for you.
Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah, it's Freddy's theme.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
And the girls are here now. Let's interview them.
3, 4, and lock the door.
So, you know much about Freddy?
5, 6, 7.
All right,
Crucifix.
they've left.
Yeah. Thank you, girls. Thank you. It's past your bedtime. Go to sleep.
Even though they're probably older than us.
Or we'll never sleep again.
Yes. So Nancy goes to join her friends, Tina, Glenn,
Coke.
other guy, Rod. She joins them in this
Allegedly.
Again, he admitted it. And she goes to join her friends in the car that happens to be a convertible with a red and green top that's just like Freddy's stripes. But oh no, the car seems to be alive. It's another nightmare, and it ends with Nancy's mother being pulled through a glass window of a door, which is...
Well, Nancy's mother's sex doll gets pulled through a window.
Very, very obvious doll. Very obvious doll pulled through, but it's still a great shot.
It's fun.
Great ending. That's, in a very condensed nutshell, that is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Go watch it. It's good.
It's a good one. It's, like, the pace, it's great all the way through. It's, you're constantly getting, like, fights with, like, nightmare sequences with Freddy, so it never really becomes dull. Even when they're explaining things, it's at a good pace.
Yeah. And funny enough, Sean pointed this out when we were watching it. Freddy only actually has 7 minutes of screen time in the film, but it definitely feels like a lot more.
Yeah.
So they make really good use of when Freddy is there.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not going to talk much about the first one because there's a reason people regard it as a classic horror movie. It's not like super cheesy, but it doesn't take itself deadly serious.
It's not Nightmare on Elm Street 2 when you're saying super cheesy.
Yeah, but it's like a really, they've got a really good balance in it. Wes Craven, R.I.P. Yeah, but it is definitely one of Wes Craven's best movies, and there's a reason it stands out above some of the others. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 little things here that can bug me about it, but overall I just enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Now,
the moment you've all been waiting for.
Unlike last week when we were talking about Friday the 13th and the remake they did there, which the retoot, we all fairly enjoyed. It wasn't a great film. It wasn't like an amazing film, but it was pretty good for what it was. The 2010 retoot of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Is there how do we want to
how do we start this? Ugh.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it starts out different. I mean, for the most part, the story's pretty much the same, but there's like a kill at the beginning. This guy's been awake for a long time, and he's hallucinating Freddy in this diner.
Twilight's Kellen Lutz.
Was that Kellen Lutz?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
All right. So Twilight is hallucinating in this diner, and like in his dream, Freddy makes him slit his own throat, but all we see is like him in reality slitting his own throat.
Well, first he walks through the diner, and there's a bunch of pig parts on the stove.
Yeah.
Which is just like, I guess he's afraid of pork. Maybe he's Jewish.
And all this seems inconsequential in the end because it just, in a way, it like leads us, does the whole thing where we have one girl, in this one named Chris instead of
Black Canary from Arrow.
Yeah, Black Canary from Arrow. She's like our red herring. It's like she's our lead.
I looked it up on that one.
She's our lead girl. It was Cassidy something, right?
Oh yeah, Katie Cassidy.
Katie Cassidy. And they do for a while make us think she's a lead girl, and they start having like flashbacks. It's like at the funeral she sees a little girl with the Freddy scratches on her shirt, and she finds an old picture of herself as a young child. She's like, oh crap, that was me. And
which, like, I don't know, that really, like, bugged me because it's just like, I guess it's me, but like, all little kids kind of look the same. So it's just like, how did she tell that was her? And like,
is that ageism?
I think I just like, it's a dislike of children that runs deep through me. That it's just like a lot of children just kind of blend together in my face that I just don't deal with them.
That's fair. That's fair.
But it's just like, it's such this weird little shot of him and like on a slide, and then like her just standing there. She's like, "That's me," and it's just like, but you 100% sure of that? Like,
and it's weird that she didn't recognize herself as a child. It's like, she probably would have remembered. It's like, seeing it's like, oh crap, is that me as a kid? Yeah. But she needed to like find a picture to confirm that that's what she saw.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just kind of long and drawn out to make you think she's going to be the lead girl, but then she's killed in the exact same way as,
I guess,
oh my god, what was... Tina from the first one.
They lead you to believe she's the lead girl unless you're watching it now and you know that Rooney Mara comes out to being the most famous actress, that like she's the true lead. So it's one of those like, oh, knowing who the most famous actor is ends up being the knowing who the lead is.
Oh my gosh, I've already forgotten so much about this film and we only watched it like...
It's in a lot of ways it follows pretty much the same basic story until it hits certain points where they're like, the parents who burned him, it's like, the kids told stories about him taking them to the boiler room and molesting them. And then they kill him, but then they find out, oh, were the kids lying? It sounds like the kids were lying.
Although
you have this weird moment where you kind of feel bad for Freddy.
But it's also like one of the flashbacks, the kid has like claw marks on his back from the blade thing. So it's just like, well, is he? But then it's like, oh, maybe they were remembering it wrong. But yeah, it's like they're trying to build this like, they're trying to make you think that maybe Freddy didn't do it.
He was falsely accused and burned by these parents until...
Honestly, if they had gone that route, actually, I think it would have made it a much more fascinating film.
It probably would have been, because they build this weird sympathy for Freddy.
Because and he's also he looks like a true burn victim.
Yeah, they went for a realistic makeup with this one as opposed to like the Robert Englund, which is like
monster burn.
Yeah, they're going. I feel like they're going for like a cross between like a demon and a burn victim.
Yeah.
But
Robert Englund is the original Freddy.
This one, Freddy's also keeps trying to lead them. He's giving them information about this.
Yeah, and it makes it feel even more like, oh shit, did they change it so like Freddy was innocent and he was killed because these kids lied? But it's revealed, nope, they find this secret room of Freddy's where he's got these pictures of him molesting the kids. And in this one, they don't hide the fact that he's a child molester. In the original one, they just say child murderer.
Well, it was it was specific photos of Rooney Mara's character, I guess.
Yeah, and
which Kyle Gone, the other kid, knew what she looked like as a girl. I guess he saw enough photos like that.
But it's like, oh, Freddy is a child molester, and then it ends very similarly in the same way with some differences. But like the whole going in reality, pulling him out. The only difference is the kid who's Johnny Depp in this one doesn't die, but. After they like reveal, psych, he is actually the child molester. Then every encounter with Freddy becomes a lot more like unnervingly just sexual.
Yeah,
he's like a lot more like. Ugh.
Yeah, because there's like the one where he like grabs Rooney Mara's hand and this like really weird kind of like he's backing her up against the wall and like the preschool's like remember.
But then it gets to like. After they realize it's like, oh, you were this awful man. He's like, yeah, now I've pinned you to this bed and I'm going to do things to you in your dreams.
I'm your boyfriend now.
Yeah.
He wasn't like that when he attacked them in the original. He was just kind of fucking with them and killing them. And
yeah.
Like, even in all of the sequels, he never got, like, too weirdly sexual, even though he was a child molester and stuff.
It's, and, I mean, just to get out of the plot, just to get that out there. So they bring him back into the real world. She kills him. She uses one of those blades from a paper chopper which was
very impressive.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a scimitar or something.
Yeah.
In this,
or like Jason's machete or something.
But they very clearly pull it off one of those paper choppers, and she cuts off his hand and then slits his throat and then sets him on fire again. And then
but they don't cut his head all the way off. Nope. You can't do that.
They wanted to leave room for a sequel.
Yeah. But
thank God they didn't.
Oh, we beat him, and then Nancy goes home with her mother, played by Connie Britton, which just kind of she's not an alcoholic in this one. She's just much more of a
inconsequential role.
Yeah,
she's just much. What's the word I'm looking for? She's just
a small town girl.
Exposition.
Oh.
She's just an exposition piece.
Yeah.
That's all the mother is in this one, is an exposition piece. Until the end where like they're home and the mom bends down in front of a mirror to pick something up, comes back up, and Freddy shoots out of the mirror, and just like in the original when he pulls her through the door, he pulls the mother into the mirror.
But I don't know, it's like really some of these moments have some obnoxious, like over the top CGI, and it's like his claw
Freddy
goes
himself too.
Yeah, it was like it looked like his face looked like they added like extra CGI onto it. But like his claw goes through her like eye, and it was just like it looked like her eye popped out, and it looked like they filmed it for 3D almost. And it was like if it wasn't released in 3D, then what was the point of that obnoxious shot?
Yeah. But that's how it ends. That's the basic plot. Like the only real difference is they focus a lot more on the fact that he was very obviously a child molester, even though we want to fool you into thinking he's not.
A lot of backstory on Freddy on this one.
So there's the plot. Now,
let's find the holes.
We're just going to spend the rest of the time tearing this awful retoot apart. First of all, in the original, there's a sense of levity in certain parts of it. There's a humor to it, and Freddy himself has very much character. Like, I know in future movies he becomes much more of a quipster, but in this first one he's a killer, but he's got like an attitude to him, and you can see that he's enjoying toying with everyone.
Yeah, because like there's the famous hall pass.
Yeah.
And no running in the halls or whatever.
Yeah, so he does have a few quippy lines, and Robert Englund really brings that to him. Jackie Earle Haley, who played him in the remake, they give him one or two quips. There was like, one of the girls finds a dead dog in her nightmare with the Freddy claw, and he's like, "I was only petting him." That was like the only funny part.
Quip.
There was the second one, I can't remember it. It was near the end, too.
It was when she's running through the hallway and like the floor is melting, he's like,
"Oh
man, what a wet dream."
Which is interesting since it's a girl, but
yeah. But it's
I guess they can get wet dreams too.
The humor didn't come through nearly as much. They tried to go much darker and much more serious with this, and it was just so fucking boring.
And it's like watching these two back to back, and especially the reveal of like figuring out how much screen time Freddy had, and it's just like he created that dread without that much screen time.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is just like they tried so much of extra Freddy, and it was just like not working. Jackie Earle Haley was doing his Rorschach voice from Watchmen, and that was just like
very silly voice.
Very way too like deep and trying to be super deep and menacing, but it didn't really fit with Freddy.
No, because it's like I don't know, like the first one, Freddy had the kind of like sometimes deep and menacing, but he also didn't speak as much, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is this one Freddy's delivery, the remake Freddy's delivering like full lines and whole things, and it's just like, ugh, just give it up, man.
And where in the first one, like, you had Nancy start to figure this stuff. Nancy was smart. She was figuring stuff out on her own. She was starting to put stuff together. In this one, Freddy's basically like laying out the pattern for them. It's like, hey kids, this is what happened.
And he's not even really killing them in their dreams. He's just more fucking with them the entire time.
Well, he kills like two of them in their dreams right away, and then Rooney Mara and the lead guy who
Kyle Gallner.
Kyle Gallner. He kind of like he's like, I want you guys to know the full story, and oh my god.
He killed Prison Guy.
Yeah, he killed Prison Guy. He killed Kellen Lutz,
Black
and then
Canary.
Katie Cassidy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed all three of them, and then just kind of drags it out and toys with the other two.
Yeah.
And it felt so boring and stupid and just bad.
It was very bad pacing. Very bad.
Very bad pacing. We spent over half the movie, like, at different points, just, like, looking away, doing other stuff. We didn't miss a damn thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's very predictable, everything that's going on, and not just because we're all very familiar with the original, but just, it is not well executed. The director, whose name is Samuel Bayer,
Bayer, I think.
I don't know. He was mostly known as a music video director before this.
Exclusively known.
Yeah.
He only did music videos.
Yeah, and he actually did direct some half-decent music videos, some that I enjoy quite a bit.
So he's good in an under 10-minute form with no dialogue.
Yeah, the times that the movie, for me, was like, oh, that's interesting. He did these transition shots that I thought were kind of clever, but also something that would be much more
at home in a music video.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, just starting from the beginning, just everyone's awkwardly paced in their talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like certain scenes, people are talking, it's just so weirdly done that you're just like, I don't know, it just feels like weird to actually hear people speak, and you're just like, no, just stop this.
Yeah.
Go back to just, like, visuals.
Yeah. You know, you do realize movies are it's a visual medium. We don't have to have everything, talked out.
And it was another thing that was really painful for me, at least, is you have actors who are
competent.
Competent.
These are good actors.
Some high grade actors.
Yeah.
Like Rooney Mara, girl with the dragon tattoo,
Oscar nominated.
I would argue that they are better actors than the people in the original.
No,
even Johnny Depp, who is not quite Johnny Depp yet in this.
But yeah, like Heather Langenkamp and Tina, like they had some very stiff moments.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, it's just like it felt like no one cared.
Yeah.
Especially Rooney Mara.
Yeah.
She just felt like, this is a paycheck. I'm going through it. This is a paycheck. There were certain shots that
she probably got this and then like got Social Network right afterwards, and was just like, I've made a huge mistake.
Like there were certain shots in the movie too that were lifted directly from the original.
Felt like horrible fan service.
Yeah,
like the worst kind of fan service.
They didn't feel organic the way they were done, like it should. Like the infamous bathtub scene where she's sitting in her bathtub, you see the claw rise up from the water coming towards her. So they had that scene. The bathtub they had her in this one looked like a toilet. It looked like she was sitting. She was floating in a big toilet.
Which was an allegory for the movie, I think.
Yep.
Oh, but the worst reference to the first movie was like, in the first shot, it was the really, really great shot of Freddy coming out above the bed. And it was just like, it was one of those, like, my dad described it to me before I saw it, and it frightened me, just his description of it. So it was like, it was a very effective, just like slow kind of like thing.
And it was, from the original, 1984, it was a practical effect, and it looks really cool even now.
Yeah, it's still like something that I feel like, it still works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that is in a lot of horror movies these days. Like, Frighteners had it in there a lot. Although I think Frighteners was CG as well.
Yeah, well, the thing coming out of the wall, because it's 2010 when they did the remake, or I guess 2009 when they actually made it, and it was released in 2010. Yeah. This shot is now CG, and it looked awful.
It did not age well.
It, like we were talking, it looked like it was something it could be out of The Mummy or like a higher scale episode of Buffy.
Yeah, the later seasons.
And if you don't know how terrible the CGI on some of those are, then like just take like a quick look on some of them.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's just like this was very, very.
Buffy was notorious for bad CG.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And it was just there was like. This movie was bad, guys. There was very little redeeming about it. And nothing, really.
Yeah. Okay, I will say this about it. That I was surprised that it ended relatively quickly. That they didn't draw it out too much, because I was like, okay, Freddy's had half his head cut off, and, we know that there's going to be a last scare that's going to come up. But they really did just end it, and so I applaud them for that. That's about the extent of it.
Which that's never what you want to applaud a movie on.
It ended it ended.
Yep. And they were trying to flesh out these characters at a certain part. There's like a part where the two leads are trying to keep themselves awake so they don't deal with Freddy, and it's like, I could not care less.
It was like a bad scene from Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
It was just like they look like strung out drug addicts, and it's like one's trying to get like drugs from the pharmacy, and of course had to be someone's dad playing the pharmacist. It's just like, oh, you're out of refills.
It was this is, I mean, all the other retweets we've watched,
they're watchable. They're entertaining in their own way.
Yeah, it's like specifically the Friday the 13th one. It's like it felt more like a really well done kind of like sequel.
Yeah,
like they didn't try to recreate the original because like you can't recreate the twist of that twist. And it's like with this one, they were trying to redo the first one. And it's just like, no, you can't redo the first one.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and again, adding nothing, of consequence.
Yeah, they could have done a really interesting of like people moving into the town like 20-something years after the events of everything. Like there are stories that you could have done, but this one is just like they really tried to recreate it, and it's like, just bad example of the writing is like the one character, Kyle Gallner, like 3 times he's talking to Rooney Mara being like, oh, that's my dad.
Yeah.
And it's like the dad's talked to Rooney Mara and her mom like he's known them forever.
Oh wait, so that character was his dad?
I'm pretty sure it was his dad.
That character
was his dad?
I'm pretty sure.
That's my dad.
Wait a minute, are you sure that it was his dad? Because I was a little confused, but it was his dad, right?
Yeah, well, after he told her it was his dad for the 3rd time, he got in the car with him and went home, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do that unless...
Or was it his daddy?
It could have been his daddy, but I think it was his dad.
Yeah, I think... Given the way they filmed it, with like all the negative stuff about Freddy, I'm pretty sure they just made it his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. His father.
His father, yes. Oh God, this movie. It's and well, like as you were saying, they could have gone in a different route if they had fucking done. He wasn't actually a child killer or a child molester. The kids had lied for whatever reason, instead of just being like, oh, now we think they lied. No, actually make them lie, make him innocent, and he's going after these children as vengeance.
Now. Yeah, it's a revenge movie.
Because they put so much time into trying to give him sympathy.
Yeah.
And to just do that so they could be like, oh, no, here's the twist, he is a molester.
It's like, we already know all that. Like,
that's a false twist.
Yeah.
That's something, it's like...
It's a twist on a twist.
It's a twist on a twist. Yeah, it's like... The bigger twist would have been the kids were full of shit. Because it's like, oh my God, this is different. I don't think anyone really going into this movie, unless you've never seen a horror film before or don't know about it, I don't think anyone going in had no knowledge of the original. Because the original is just so huge.
A pop culture phenomenon.
Yeah, especially in the horror, in the genre that it's in. It's like,
if you've never seen Freddy's Claws, you've been living under a rock.
Yeah. So going in, and I don't think you could be like, oh my God, I can't believe they tricked us into thinking he was innocent and he wasn't. It's like, no, it's like, they made us feel like he would be, and they backtracked on it. It's like, yeah, this is just Freddy.
Yeah.
Except less quippy.
And not funny, and just, yeah.
More sexually aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in this one they also made it like it's a specific preschool that like I'm not 100% sure if he was like I guess he was the teacher of the or like
no, he's like the gardener.
Oh,
that was another weird. Yeah, it was. It's like
groundskeeper Willie reference maybe.
So
there was like it did. You pointed out another time when there was kind of it seemed like there was a Simpsons episode, an early Treehouse of Horror episode that was based on Nightmare on Elm Street that had Groundskeeper Willie taking on the part of Freddy.
Lousy Smarch weather.
Smarch. It seemed as though this movie had a few moments that was actually inspired by that Simpsons episode.
Yeah, there's like a whole shot of this kid coming out of a pool in like the dream world, and the setting looked like the school from the end of that episode.
Yeah, the sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like, sorry, side note. To kind of bring it back to, like, the bad CGI, they didn't try to make any of the kills that different either.
Not really.
No, well, there was only one they really significant... I mean, there weren't... In the first one, there's only, like, 3 kills.
Yeah.
And in this one, there was only really 3 kills.
Yeah.
And the infamous Tina kill, they kept the same. They added a new kill at the beginning of the guy slitting his throat in the diner.
Who was, like, friends with the Katie Cassidy.
Yeah.
2 first names. I guess the rest of the group, they were very loosey-goosey on that kind of, like, how that group is formed.
Yeah.
They know Rooney Mara, she works at the diner they go to every week.
Yeah, they never really defined much of the relationships in this one, like they did in the first one. But the kill of the guy, the boyfriend who is falsely accused of killing the girlfriend...
Oh, yes, they did change
was
that
quite
one.
different, because in the first one, like we said, he's hung in the prison cell. In this one, Freddy stabs him through the chest. And, like...
In the prison cell.
In the prison cell, and his chest just, like, explodes outward.
Scaring the prisoner in the prison cell with him.
Yeah, and then since they don't kill the Johnny Depp character in this one...
They kind of had the blood at some point.
They did. They used the same, like, bed blood thing, similar, except now it was, like, Heather falling through the floor and, like, all the blood shot up.
Yeah.
So...
And then she was in that dress, and Freddy was getting even creepier.
The little
with
girl
the
dress.
stuff.
Yeah, that was...
I mean,
that
like,
was weird. That was unsettling.
Yeah, when you're watching a horror movie, you're there to be scared, but I mean, this was just on that level of being just plain creepy.
Yeah,
not fun at all.
Not fun because the movie was already not scary. It was so boring, but then they're making it like throwing in creepy fetish things. It's like this isn't what I wanted out of the horror movie. It's not working the way you guys think it is. It's just making me like, oh my god, I don't like this.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't like creep me out. It's like, oh my god, this is so creepy. It's like, oh god, no.
Did they really go there? Ew.
I didn't like this movie before, and this isn't helping.
It's like that kid in high school who's like just going like describing those like something like just too far.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, we are past that. You've taken this joke way too far. You're not as funny as you think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that.
So yeah, it was. I can't. I feel like I just can't even like. There's just so much that is not good.
Yeah, so much wrong with it. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah. So much is wrong with it that I feel like it buried the franchise.
Yeah.
That and I feel like Wes Craven's death. But it's like that. This started it.
But like even before, I mean, he passed away this year. Wes Craven passed away this year, 2016.
I thought it was 2015.
2015, 2016.
Did he die at the end of 2015?
Yeah, it was like towards the end of 2015.
Okay, well, regardless, this movie came out in 2010, and there have been no talks about doing a sequel or another remake.
And this movie did make its money back.
Yeah.
So...
Whereas something like Friday the 13th, there's another one in the works. We know that.
There's another Texas Chainsaw.
There's another Halloween, which you guys will get next week.
Yeah.
Early spoiler.
And really, I mean... Nightmare on Elm Street, that's the big motherfucker of the slasher movies, you know?
It's the film series that saved New Line Pictures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, it's even if you have to watch it in chunks, watch Never Sleep Again. It's a really cool, really interesting documentary. And it shows, like...
I'm going to go watch it again after this podcast, actually. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while, and it's a good one.
Yep. But yeah, this was not how you do a retoot.
No.
Like the source material, I think part of it is like the source material for it. Not necessarily the killing in the dreams, but the fact that like he's a child killer and in the original hinted at that he molested the kids. But to take that and be like, yeah, let's take this and just make it super dark.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, that's the kind of thing you would only do in like a drama.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and it had melodrama aspects to it that were not even present whatsoever in the original.
Which did not work for the horror medium.
Yeah.
It's... If you make a darker, more serious horror film, it has to be really good to work. It has to be really, really good. It has to be you have to have good actors who are in it. You have to have not like in the movie, but like in the source material. They're feeling it.
They have to be bringing something to the table.
Yeah, and you can't just be like, this is a horror remake, but we're going to make it dark. You have to actually try.
Yeah.
And
it did not feel like anyone was trying on this.
And you need a director who has like a vision. Because I feel like this was like, there's not that many credited writers, but it still feels like it was a movie written by committee.
Yeah.
I
mean, what was Wes Craven... I don't know that much about this film. What was Wes Craven's involvement?
He had no involvement.
Yeah.
So he'd been pushed out of this
I think he'd been pushed out a while ago.
Okay.
Because
I know that he wasn't very happy with the sequels to the original.
He wasn't the most happy. He had some to do with 3... And then he directed
New Nightmare,
which is 6 or 7.
The 6th one.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's...
He did like a more serious Freddy. It's kind of Wes Craven's thing. He didn't like the super quippy Freddy.
Yeah, it was still like Freddy with an attitude, but not welcome to prime time, bitch, Freddy. And you can definitely feel that in both the ones he directed.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get down the line the other sequels. They all have a very different feel, but New Nightmare, which I genuinely enjoyed.
New Nightmare is my second favorite of the series, and I also really like 3.
Yeah.
Dream Warriors. I think that one's really good.
I like 2 to a certain extent, but just...
2 is fun, but it's also like, it's a whole different movie.
2 is an entire podcast in and of itself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But 2 is an experience.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that on a later date. I'm sure by now you guys have realized our stance on these 2 movies, but just to reiterate it, would you suggest the first one?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely the original for me.
I'd even recommend the sequels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, stop at New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Would you recommend the Re-2?
No!
Absolutely.
To your worst enemy.
Yeah, absolutely not. I wouldn't even... Not even like if you're taking how to make a bad film.
Yeah.
And like, okay, watch this so you know how to make a bad film. No, because it's just so boring that you won't even be paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, I was when we were watching this, I was like, because I had never seen it before, but then there was like a few things in the beginning that was really, really familiar, and I realized, oh my gosh, yeah, my friends and I actually did go and sit in on the movie when it first came out, and we walked out within probably the first 20 minutes. So, you know, I don't think we paid for the tickets. So what? Oh, what?
No, that's...
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Look, for this one, I don't blame you. This was... The remake is just a bad movie all the way through. You can't really dispute that. It's boring. The drama they tried to have doesn't work.
Yeah.
And all the actors in it are just like, it hurts to watch them do this.
It hurts to watch good actors suffer in something.
And it's like, they don't ever, I don't know, like, they never interact with each other, so you're never getting
chemistry.
Like, any kind
no
of,
chemistry.
Like,
no.
It's like 2 and 2 interact, and then like, somehow Thomas Dekker knows the Rooney Mara, and he tells her to like, and it's like, oh, how do they know each other though, other than again him showing up to the diner she works at.
Right.
It is just a mess.
And like, how did they hide the murder? Because the first one, the town sheriff was one of the guys that helped hide the murder.
The murder of Freddy.
Yeah, because in the remake, murder, air quotes. Because in the remake, it's a group of like just like teachers and doctors and stuff, and he was like a teacher at a school. Was there never? I guess like
I guess they just ignored it.
He's probably a molester. Go on with your bad self.
They probably just. It was one of those things like small town. All these people got together, did this. They swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
Did they specify where this one took place, or was it just like...
I don't know.
I do not. Yeah, I do not.
Wasn't
It didn't even hold my attention that.
For me, it's always been weird because like I've been by the original Freddy house, and it's funny because it makes it hard for me to think of it being in a small town because literally that house is right off of Sunset Boulevard.
Well, I was actually reading some trivia about it, and they were saying that like it was originally going to be set in California.
Okay.
But then they were like, "Oh, we should like make it like vague."
Well, they have palm trees and stuff.
Yeah,
in it,
I mean, like,
don't
they
even
didn't
really
hide it.
hide it. Yeah.
But yeah, they cut out like direct references.
Okay. And that's fine. That's I have no problem with that.
Because California has some small towns. It's too big.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
All right. Well, whew.
Yeah.
There you have it. I mean, there's not really much more we can say about the original that hasn't been said by someone else before. There's not really much more we can say about the remake.
Other than don't see it.
Yeah, other than don't see it.
Don't go. Don't even think about it.
Don't rent it. Even if you're like, if you're a horror movie fan, if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan and you love Nightmare on Elm Street, don't do it. It's no good.
Oh, especially if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, I feel like this will this will feel like a personal insult to you and everyone you love. Yeah,
if you ever want like to torture someone, force them to watch this movie.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Not that we're condoning it, but just gonna leave it at that. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in once again and listening to us be snobs. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you'll join us next week. Next week's episode will come out on Monday instead of Wednesday because it is a very special episode, which I spoiled earlier for you. In case you didn't know, next Monday is October 31st.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you know what day that is?
No.
Well, my friend, it is the most joyous of holidays known as...
The day before November 1st?
Almost. We here in California, we call it Halloween. And there just so happens to be a series of films started by a great horror director, John Carpenter, that is also called Halloween. And then Rob Zombie remade it in 2007.
Oh.
Yeah. And it is also called Halloween. So, next Monday, for Halloween, we are going to do both John Carpenter's Halloween and Rob Zombie's Halloween. Also, fun bonus, if you want an early morning drinking game, go back 2 minutes, drink every time I said Halloween, including this time, and then hate yourself forever. Because
if you survive.
I may have just killed you. Hopefully I didn't, though. We hope to see you next week. For the Horror Snobs, I'm Sam.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Sean.
Thank you.